doing? All right, I got Ben SW here. Ben SW couldn't make it because he was sick. How are you doing?
All things considered, I'm doing all right. Hopefully, I'll get better soon.
Okay, so far since you've been sick, I'm assuming you're just on your laptop and you watched Melee all morning.
Yeah, I actually woke up at 7 a.m. and watched from the beginning of the stream until now.
Did you do the multi-Twitch thing? Because I think there were like at some points like 3 streams going at once.
There are 4 actually, and yeah, I only have 2 monitors, so I had 2 of the big ones, the streams that I wanted to watch on my monitors, and then I was constantly switching between the 2 other streams to see if there was another match. It was kind of like you did a Red Zone stream yesterday, right? It was felt kind of like that.
Yeah, I did that, and I kind of, in an ideal world, I would want to show the full screen so I can commentate and go back and forth, but I didn't want to feel grimy and stealing viewers.
I see.
So, like, I was, like, kind of wanting to be a complimentary. If you want to mute the stream, you don't like the commentary, and you want to listen to me analyze, then, like, that was kind of the angle I was going for, but while having the respective streams still up, just replacing the audio with me.
Aha.
So, you know, it's kind of funny because, like, at Evo, I'm not sure what your take is on this, but, like, top 3, Evo was best of 3, so, like, naturally it creates more variance, and then you get a lot more upsets. Do you like that, or do you like the best of 5s more?
So I think everybody will agree that best of 5s are better. You get to watch more Melee. It's a little bit more competitive, but I was actually thinking this morning, like, which is a bigger upset buff? Is it best of 3s, or is it 10 a.m. like top 64 pools?
Dude, it depends on, I think what you have to add to that is which side of the country it is, because if it's 10 a.m. West Coast, that's still 1 p.m. East Coast, but if it's 10 a.m. East Coast, then it's 7 a.m. West Coast.
Yeah, that's true. It's true.
That's a 6-hour variance.
Yeah, I mean, we saw some upsets this morning, right?
Yeah. So, like, let's, like, go through it. I'm not sure if you have, there's, like, a Reddit thread that has every, like, upset. You know, just to recap some of the highlighted ones: Bananas 3-0 Plup, Fiction 3-0 Wizrobe, Gatsu 3-2 Zane. Now, between just those 3, what do you think was the biggest surprise for you?
So, I think everybody's got to say the biggest surprise is Bananas 3-0 Plup, but that one wasn't on stream. So of the ones that I watched, obviously Gatsu Zane, that was like crazy. It looked like Gatsu made it look like Fendi versus Scar.
Yikes. Wait, so, like, I didn't get to watch that because, like, I wasn't used to the time, and I'm realistically not going to wake up at 7 a.m. for Melee. Like,
yeah, I mean, if I weren't sick, I wouldn't have woken up at 7 a.m.
Oh, you got the sick buff. So, like, just, like, kind of walk me through it. So, like, what do you mean by, like, it look? I watched the set of Fendi versus Scar, but, like, what else about it?
I mean, that was a little bit of an exaggeration, but I guess it's just like, when you think about Zayn, you think about these amazing combos, and you think about this, you know, the way that he's been performing over the last couple of months. Like, he's basically unbeatable, right? He's killed so many gods, like, and then Gatsu just did the Falcon stuff to him, just, like, destroyed him, made him look like it was Zayn from 2 years ago, made him look like he was a shadow of his current self.
I think that's, like, pretty interesting because, like, with Zayn, like, we've been on this, like, Zayn hype train, and I think we kind of forget, like, if you get certain brackets, like Zayn and Spaceys, and, you know, winning against Hungrybox, we just kind of assume that, like, extrapolates to every matchup, but, like, not too long ago, he got destroyed by Smuckers, and, like, not too long ago, even more recently, he just got destroyed by SUJ, so I'm kind of wondering if this Zayn perception of him being, like, top 4 or top 5, like, is, like, a little bit exaggerated.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things I was thinking about this morning. Like, we had this idea in Melee, right, that there were these top 5, then top 6, now top 7 players that were kind of untouchable, right? And I think more realistically, the players who've recently moved into that upper echelon, they still show some cracks, right? And also the top players are showing more and more cracks. It's like, is Plup really at that level of god tier, or, like, are these newer players good enough to contend with him? And was I mean, for Plup, maybe not that case, although he did lose Bananas. Like, Zayn, like, could you ever imagine Zayn never losing to a non-top 10 player ever again? I mean, today obviously shows that was not the case, but, like, I wonder how people think about those new top players in that regard, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like really tough to say because like this is like the nature of like double elimination brackets. You kind of get an idea of a few things, but like there's such a wide player pool that you don't really get the full like suite of like does he do well against everybody, and maybe like these players are going to get exposed more and more when you shuffle up the brackets.
Yeah, and yeah, go ahead.
You know what's like kind of crazy? So like if I bet on this bracket, like I would have lost a lot of money. Like if you look at the like Fiction, like if you look at the first 4 matches, if you go to Smash GG, there's Fiction, Wizrobe, Rishi Pew Pew, Hugs None, Plup Bananas. Who would you have picked before this bracket happened? I would have gone all 4 of those wrong.
Same.
And so it's kind of nuts.
I would have lost so much money.
And go ahead.
The only thing I can think of is that like if I were thinking about today and I was thinking like what is the best bracket that we could make for Mango, like all of those things happened somehow, right? Like besides that, I would have lost all money on all of those first 4 matches. I would have lost a bunch of money on some of the other matches too.
What were like some other ones? Like I think
let me pull up the bracket.
Okay, with Fiction Bananas, I would have lost money on that.
100%. Like that's not even close.
There's a lot of other like questionable ones. Like Shroomed is pretty good, like against Army, like or just Ice Climbers in general. So I think I would have probably lost money on that. I guess
KJH Lucky was like super duper close, much closer than it probably should have been. And then on the flip side, when Lucky played his losers match against Plup, that was like also much closer than it
normally been. Yeah,
it was a 3-1. But sorry, I kind of got us off track.
Oh no, I'm used to off track. I'm with the blur. These tangents could go for like an hour, and I'm just like, yeah. So don't worry about it, man. But with that being said, like there were some like sets where like it was just kind of a total wash and it was like disappointing, and then there were other sets like Zayn Rishi that were like just like really like close and tense and fun to watch. I'm not sure if you were able to watch that set in particular.
Zayn Rishi, that was too much. My heart couldn't take it. I mean, I've been chugging NyQuil and DayQuil all last week, and I don't think my heart could take another match like that.
But you're a Mango fan.
That's true, but you know, watching how Mango is playing during, I guess there's 2 things I want to bring up about the crew battles on Friday. Watching how Mango is playing on the crew battles, he looked really, really, really good, like better than I think he has before. And I don't want to jinx it, but I think he's got a real shot in this tournament. And then I think for everybody who watched the crew battle on Friday, you got a kind of glimpse at how good Gatsu performed today. You know, although he didn't make it out, he played so well in that crew battle. Did you watch the crew battle?
Yeah, I did. I didn't watch it live, but like I kind of was like, what the hell happened? Because I was just like, oh, SoCal's gonna make the finals, yep. And lo and behold. But yeah, he did look good. Like it looked clean. Like other than that really weird Pew Pew stock, like I was like, okay, like Mango's playing like an 8 out of 10 at least.
Yeah. And then, so yeah, the getting back on track. Sorry, the Zayn Rishi match that was insane. There was one other match that was like, I felt like I was gonna fall out of my seat. What was it? It was the Zayn Gatsu match was also that way.
Did you also get a hold of like Rishi Lod? I'm not sure if that was on stream.
That one was on stream. That was like, I think that was during the time when there were 4 streams up. So I was like, okay, well, this is going to be a slow match. Let me watch something more fast paced. And then I turned away and then I looked back and it was over. So
I think, what was it? So unfortunately, like I missed it. I heard it was a really good set. It seems like MDVA needs to eliminate MDVA. So it's kind of unfortunate if you're from that region. Let's see.
Did you see the West Balls Wizrobe match?
I saw the water clip, like where he tried to ice him out, and I'm like thinking that's kind of shady, but I'm like, because like there is like, I'm not saying this is confirmed or anything, but like Wizzy seems like he might have OCD, and so if like that's the case, then I think it's kind of fucked up.
Yeah,
But
I guess.
I think for an inherent value, I think it's funny. I thought it was really funny. I had a good laugh.
No, yeah, it was hilarious, and Westball's kind of made himself look like Mango in that matchup. He just kind of obliterated Wizrobe.
I just don't think that Wizrobe's like really. I don't think Wizrobe's good at all against Falco. Like, and Mango makes fun of him all the time. It just does. It just looks like he gets a random aerial out of shield or a random grab, and then he does the Whizzly thing. But in neutral, he looks like completely lost.
Yeah.
So we're talking about like kind of some of the like really interesting things. Like, who do you think like flamed out? Like you were disappointed by their performance.
Pretty disappointed with PPU. I feel like he's been doing really, really well over the past couple of tournaments, and I was looking forward to seeing him do super well this tournament. I mean, he won doubles, but then kind of flamed out in top 64 bracket.
Yeah, I mean, I think he said he was sick, but like I think what's like worrying for me, he's been doing really well. It seems like he somehow gets like sick every tournament. Like if you ever look like at his Twitter before like a major, he's like, "Yo, I'm sick," and I'm like going to this tournament. It's been a reoccurring pattern. I hope that he finds a way to like get better. But I totally agree with you. I think if we ran this bracket, like I think I would bet on him getting ninth, and instead he got 33rd.
I think you gotta go to med school, become a doctor, and then rejoin CLG and be his personal doctor so that he can perform well.
Yeah. And along with that, like Shroom like flamed out like crazy. He lost to Army, which I guess is a respectable loss in 2018. But
then he lost to Spark.
Yeah.
Like, how do you lose to Spark? He can't even lose to Spark at locals. I guess Dewan doesn't go to locals anymore, but like, come on.
Maybe Spark is just like the Sheik Ditto master. He 3-0'd over Triforce right before Shroomed, I think, or after Shroomed.
That's true, but
go
ahead.
And maybe like he's the wobbling chain grab master. I don't know. That's the only way I can see it happening.
Yeah, I don't know. NorCal just, I guess, did not between those two did not do as well as I'd hoped, being from NorCal.
So, like, I think that's kind of like disappointing. So, on one hand in the bracket, we have SFAT surprisingly beat Axe. I wouldn't have put money on it. And on the bottom half of winners, we have Mango Leffen, which is a little bit of a surprise because very likely we would have likely saw Zane Leffen, like Zane beating Mango. Unfortunately, we're Mango fans, but like that's kind of the reality of the situation, that Zane has a very good chance of beating Mango if he like got that far. Other half the bracket just like very weird. You had like Wizrobe and Plup, who didn't even make it. Now you have Bananas Hungry Box.
That is like the biggest question mark. If I'd not woken up at 7 a.m. and I just woke up now and I looked at the bracket, like, who's this Bananas guy? Like, what is he doing in top 8 of the Big House 8? Like, come on.
And I have to like give him props because like whenever I see Plup play Samus against Ice Climbers, I just think it's impossible. Like I'm just like, there's no way an Ice Climbers can be Plup, and I think Plup got 2-stocked and then 3-stocked, and then he played Fox and got 3-stocked. It was really one-sided.
Yeah, I didn't actually watch his match against Plup, but I watched his match against Hugo and Fiction, and he looked incredibly solid in both those matches, especially against Fiction, because correct me if I'm wrong, but Fiction was known for basically destroying Fly Amanita back when he was playing, and like seemingly having good matchups against
Army
players.
Like he was doing really well against Army, and like the way he would get shine spikes, it looked like clinical. Like he just knew like everything about the AI, and Nana would just die. So like I think this is like really respectable because like Plup is really good against Ice Climbers, and like so is like Fiction, and for Bananas to like beat them, even though it's like there's variance and there's like the lull, like if you're playing bad missing L cancels, like I still think it's like pretty respectable.
No, but it's even more surprising to me, I guess, because it's like, yeah, sure, you can say like, oh, of course a wobbler is going to make top 8 or whatever, but like all of the really good Ices players have shown that, you know, they're a little bit more than wobblers, and so that meme had died, at least in winners bracket, for big tournaments for a long time for me, and to see Bananas both not be pure gimmick and have that extra strength, but also have not shown it at previous tournaments, that's like the biggest surprise of this tournament so far for me.
With that like being said, like I think there's like 2 summit slots, so like out of the people that haven't, you know, already qualified for summit, and winners we have Hungrybox, Mango Leffen, who are already invited, and in losers like Zane and Plup. So you now have a 3-way race between Bananas, Absent Page and Axe to get
Axe was not invited to Summit, right?
Axe was not. He was I think the odd man out.
It sucks.
So I think it's like pretty obvious. Like I kind of want to have your feel here. So it's kind of funny that Absent Page and Axe are losers, and they're both playing a Panda Global player to potentially get a bid. What do you think is more likely to happen to like potentially get that Summit bid? Absent Page beating Zane or Axe beating Club Sheik?
I don't see Absent Page winning in a million years. I think that there is a chance that Axe could win. Like, how many times has Axe won in the past? He's won more than a few times, right?
Okay, we're gonna nicely segue into top 8 discussion. Is there anything else prior to top 8 that you want to bring up?
I don't think so. I think we covered most of the big headlines.
I think Zane beating SFET's like kind of unfortunate as a CLG fan, because that seems to be like the Axe Pew Pew split, where like Pew Pew could just never beat Axe and he always gets ninth to him, just with how brackets play out. It's
look at this Tafo stats.
Oh, are you watching live?
Yeah, admin interface. Look at that.
All right, let's look at this Axe and Plup. Axe won once in 2014 and once in 2015.
Does not look great.
It does not look good for our main Axe. Let's see. What I wonder what Plup was still playing at the time. Plup was playing random characters. Oh, he played a little bit of everything and lost with all 3. And that was in 2015 when he was starting to get good with Sheik, I'd say. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. Just looking at recent history of Plup Axe. 3-0 at Smash Summit. DreamHack Atlanta went to last game. That's pretty impressive. Every other set in kind of recent history has been like 3-1 or worse.
Yeah, I guess if I were setting the odds for this, like these two losers matches, like I think Zane Absent Page is like 1,000,000, and yeah, Axe has a chance.
I think Axe, I would give him 1 to 12, like in a best of 5. Like
that's very specific.
I don't know, like whatever's like an 8 to 10% chance.
Okay,
like I think best of 5 is very cruel. Like Plup gets FD. Absent Page, I think. I'm trying to think at what point would I even consider taking Absent Page in a bet. Like, is it 10 to 1? Like, I don't really see it. 20 to 1, like I might take it if I'm gambling. Like 50 to 1, like I'll be tempted in a best of 5. But I think you're right. Like Zane is just way too strong against like Foxes. Like we're gonna go ahead and look at the recent history. We're gonna look at the last 5 months of Zane.
I mean, you think Absent Page is better at the matchup than SFAT? Like, just think about it that way, right?
Ooh, yikes! You're absolutely right, man. We're gonna look at the recent history of Zane and look at his head-to-head against Foxes and like Spaceys in general. 3-0 against Mango, 4-0 against SFAT, 1-0 against Lucky, 1-0 against Colbull, 2-0 against Ginger. So those are all his recent stats. So in other words, he has like not lost a set in recent history to a Spacey, like in at least like the last 4 to 5 months.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think there's like this tiny part of me that just thinks that like Absent Page is this supreme wild card that maybe he just does something so bizarre that he can win the matchup. But like, if you're looking at the objective facts, there's basically no chance.
Okay, we're gonna look at Absent Page in like recent history against Marth. Like, let's look at the other side of the coin, because I don't think they've ever really played. They might have played like one set before. Absent Page against Marth. I think Shroon played Marth against him. Maybe he played mixed. I'm not sure. That's tough to say. Absent Page is 2-0 against La Luna. That's not bad.
Okay.
I think,
Yeah,
and he's 1-3 against Rishi.
Big difference between the Moon and Zane, though.
Yeah, Rishi being like, I think Rishi is a bit better and more seasoned against Fox, and being 1-3. And granted, Rishi took like Zane to game 5. I think Zane's vastly superior. He's the better version of Rishi in that matchup.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I don't think it's looking good. I think if I'm gambling and I feel like in the mood to like be like, okay, like I know the odds aren't my favor, but I just want to gamble, like I think I would settle at 25 to 1. Like if I bet $1 and I could win $25, I'd be okay with that, even if I'm not happy with the betting odds.
Uh,
I don't know, where's your
for
line
me,
on
I
that?
think it's like it's got to be. I don't know. Like, you think he's got a 5% chance of winning?
No, I don't. But like 50 to 1 is 49 to 1, right?
Yeah,
And
that's like a
like
2% chance, right?
yeah.
So
80 to 1, 1.5, like a 1.5-ish% chance.
I guess the way that I think about setting odds in Melee is that like upsets can happen much more frequently than other pure skill games, and so I think most matches like you gotta cap them at close to like 100 to 1. So I think 50 to 1 or 60 to 1, 71, somewhere around that range. I would take the bet, but I wouldn't say that I think he's got more than a 1% chance of winning.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, like I totally agree with you here. I know some people in the chat are saying like Aston Page has a Sheik. Zane is pretty good against Sheik. Like he's being shroomed, who probably is way better at the matchup, and Zane has Junebug. So like, I don't think a secondary Sheik is really gonna cut it here.
Yeah, no. And I don't think he's played a Sheik in a long time.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think Aston Page may play against like Samus, and even then, like in the matchups, like Sheik should win. Like Aston Page struggles, so not really seeing it. So that kind of brings us to an interesting scenario. So if Aston Page and Axe both lose, then they both have to play what is like effective to like a $15,000 money match.
Yep.
Like what do you put the value on like a summit spot?
Well, I don't. It obviously depends on what the prize pool is this year, but I think $10,000 is a pretty good marker. Not just because of what the prize pool might be, but also because of the promotion. Well, there's the campaign, but also like the promotion opportunity of it, right? Like you can think about it in two ways, right? You can think about it as like, okay, how much would they have had to pay for the campaign? But the other way you can think about it is like
the value.
All the players who have gone to Summit and what they've done afterwards, right? Like that is worth a lot in promotion and practice.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm trying to think, and I think for the most part, as long as the person committed reasonably after the summit, they've had like a decent sized boost.
Yeah,
or they've turned out to be more likable within the community. Like,
yeah, I mean, look at Ginger.
Ginger, to a certain extent.
Yep.
Okay, so I think we're like pretty reasonable to say like I think Zane Absent Page, like Zane probably definitely wins. Like we're just gonna assume he wins.
Yep.
And
I think Plup's probably gonna win.
Unless like Plup tilts, which is like where like the cap comes in, right? Like these outside circumstances that make it so that's hard to make the gambling odds more than 100 to 1.
Yeah. So I guess that leads probably to the question you're about to ask, which is in the playoff between Absent Page and Axe, who do you think is going to win?
I'm wondering if Axe and Absent Page like they actually already played. Funny enough, in winners like round of 632.
Okay.
So like in Axe 131, maybe Absent Page does that whole like I'm gonna study the matchup thing, but I think you just have way too many gimmicks to work with, and like Pikachu side of things that lead to kills. That like I think that's gonna be way too hard to overcome.
Yeah, the only thing that gives me pause is the way that SFAT played against Axe and how Axe was looking against Fiction in loser's side. He was looking kind of weak in the matchup. I mean, Fiction, if you just forget about the fifth game, like games 1 through 4 were so competitive that there's a chance that Axe isn't playing super well today, and Absent Page is playing super well, and he just wins. I think that the odds are probably like 10, 15, 20%, but
yeah, I think the tough part here is that like SFAT and Fiction, like I'm not sure if you've like followed like Marvel 2 at all, like or like like the tier list in Marvel 2, like it's Mag, Sentinel, Storm, Cable.
Okay,
and
Yipes, Zero, I know about it, but go ahead.
And like Yipes was like a newer school player, so like he was very well accustomed to playing against those 4 characters, and then he loses to Strider Doom and like Spiral. Like,
I see.
And like just like coming into new school, like you don't get that experience against like those weird matchups, and I feel like Fiction and SFAT have had plenty of experience with Axe, and like over the years of accumulating that random mid-tier, low-tier jank, that I think they do way better than Absent Page. I think it's just too soon for Absent Page to like be good at that matchup.
That's true. Maybe you know the answer to this, but does Absent Page play against Pikachu with any frequency?
I don't think so. I think Pikachu Chad's long gone, and I think the only like there might be like Trixie or like Anther, but like their punish games are nowhere near like the level.
Of course, yeah.
So that's gonna be like a wash. Okay, so like in winner's side, because we can't really tell the next phase of the bracket. Bananas HBox. I mean,
come on, let's get real.
Okay,
here for a second.
Which one's more likely to happen? Bananas beating HBox or Absent Page beating Zane?
Bananas beating HBox.
Why do you say that?
It's ices, right? There's just like some small chance that HBox short circuits, gets wobbled one too many times. Bananas times him out. Like there is a chance. Whereas like looking at the way that Zane destroyed SFAD and losers, like come on.
I feel like HBox, like the thing that you always have as Puff is that you can always just run away. You get a small lead, you just run away, and then Ice Climbers just have to overextend over and over again. Like, that's floaty privilege.
I guess, okay, they're both like Black Swan events, and I think that Ices as a character allows for those Black Swan events to happen with more frequency than like a matchup, say, Marth and Fox, right? Like, they're both very, very small odds, but if you're going to ask me to pick one, which one's more likely, I think I have to say that it's the Ices matchup. Ices is just there's higher variance.
Yeah, I think that's fair, right? I think overall, I think there's like a case where HBox probably his average win margins against Bananas is higher, but the variance allows for Bananas to win a set more often.
Yeah, I agree with that statement.
Okay, and I think this is like the set we always want to tune into, Mango Leffen. I haven't really watched Leffen today. I watched the SFAT set, and I would say Leffen was playing okay. I don't think he was playing great. I don't know what your thoughts are.
Yeah, I didn't watch the SFAT set. I watched the Duck set, and I mean Leffen just looked kind of like Leffen. I didn't get a good read on how he was playing compared to the level of Mango. I mean, the problem here is that I'm a Mango fan, so I'm going to say Mango's going to win this 10 days out of the week. Yeah.
I mean, and that's perfectly fine. You're like the Bill Simmons of Mango. I think that's going to be pretty interesting, and I think what is always unfortunate is it always feels like one of them is not playing well, like whenever they play against each other. But that could be said that the other person, like, it's so high pressure and how much pressure they put on the other player that, like, if you're not playing reasonably up to par, like, you're just going to look really bad. Like, both sides. Like, Leffen could look really bad because Mango's putting a lot of pressure and every little small thing's getting punished hard. And the same could be said about when Mango looks bad against Leffen. Leffen just punishing every little thing and Mango can't get anything started because Leffen's pressuring so well.
That's just Fox Falco, right? Like, that's the matchup in a nutshell.
Yeah. And with how aggressive they play too, like they're never going to be like reset to neutral. Let's like slow the pace down. They're just going to run at each other, and like you either double down on you playing terribly or it somehow works.
Yeah, and looking the way Mango's playing, he took a nap. In fact, I'm the biggest Mango fan this side of the Mason-Dixon. Mango's going to win.
Yeah, I still remember your 4x fist pumps when Mango played HBox on FD that one game.
Yeah, that was a good time.
Okay, so with that being said, we're gonna assume Hungrybox is probably gonna win. Who do you think has a better shot at beating Hungrybox?
So maybe you know the answer to this question. Do you know if Mango is gonna try playing Fox this tournament?
So my like low key strat. So there's two answers to this question. If I were coaching him, and what do I actually think he's gonna do? I think there's something to be said about that Shine set a year and a half ago when Mango first played Falco, and the reason why I bring that set up is because Falco and Fox have very different playstyles against Hungrybox. where like Mango, like a Falco has a controlled laser style, so you don't expect aerials to come right away, and the tempo of Fox is very different. So like if I were his coach, I'd kind of go like, hey, like you can start Falco, and the moment Hungrybox switches to Dreamland, you need to ice Hungrybox out and get him reaccustomed to you. So if he plays let's say Mango wins game 1, it goes to Dreamland, I would tell him, please go Fox. Like, because if you go Falco, like you're gonna get mentally exhausted, and Hungrybox is gonna figure you out like better. You play that one game on Dreamland, and if the Fox loses, you switch back to Falco.
Okay.
And then you'd play Falco Yoshi's. Or you can play Fox Yoshi's even. I think that's a really strong combo for Mango. Either work. And if you go Stadium, you can go back to Falco. And that's what I would do.
It's very similar to what you were telling me about his game plan versus Armada. This was like, what, a year and a half ago?
Yeah. I mean, we sacrificed on the Royal Flush set like some dead games because like it takes Armada a while to readjust to characters. Mm-hmm. Even then, like if you really don't want to tire yourself out, and I feel like this is like the Hungrybox special, is that like playing Hungrybox is like playing like a Mayweather in boxing. Like playing him on Dreamland, even if you win that game, you're so mentally taxed that Hungrybox is going to figure out your patterns, and you really have no new like kind of leverage to go off of. It's really hard to construct a new game plan with the same character when Hungrybox generally has a really good idea of what you're going to do after the Dreamland game.
Fair enough. Go ahead.
So with that being said, I think the original question before we got on this tangent is whether or not Mango or Leffen have a better shot against Hungrybox.
Okay, there's two parts to me, but I'm gonna say the heart part first, which is I think Mango's got a better chance against Hungrybox. But in my heart of hearts, I think this is Mango's tournament. I think that he's shown that he can play to a level that's good enough, and then on top of that, this is like his dream bracket. That being said, if you want to look at the numbers, if you want to pull up Tafo stats, it tells a slightly different story, one that I personally do not want to tell.
Yeah. Okay, so just to kind of give context for the audience at home, I'm looking at this query from like a 1-year stretch between last October and today. So Hungrybox is 6-1 against Mango in that stretch, and 9-3 against Leffen. So actually, neither of them are doing particularly well. I think 6-1 leads to like an 85% win rate against Mango, and against Leffen, he has a 75% win rate.
But what has it been like in the past year, like in the most recent matches, right? Like Leffen's beaten him past couple times, right?
Leffen won at Evo. I mean, there's that, but I think most of the time, like Leffen might win one set and then he loses 2 sets.
Okay, but we're talking about the winners finals match, right?
Yeah,
I'll give you that maybe if it goes to grands that it's a different story, but you have the stats, and my memory is shoddy. But
okay, let's go ahead through this. Actually,
that Leffen's like won a bunch in winner's side, right?
Yeah. So like Evo, he won in winners semis. It was a best of 3 last game. Low tier city, he won at winners finals, but lost the run back pretty bad. Like that was the infamous Ness set.
Yeah, I remember that.
And then prior to that, it's just been like you're eventually going to catch up to this on my stream. Hungrybox has kind of had a stranglehold on him. Like, granted, they split the last 4 sets, but even prior to that, like Smash and Splash, Smash Summit, Full Bloom, 2 at Genesis, Smash Summit 5, like all these sets, Leffen has. I wonder what the third. I might have a computer like a query glitch. It's 7-2. No, we looked over the last year. That's why the queries were different. That makes sense.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
They split at Big House. So like, other than the last 4 sets, it's been pretty dominant for Hungrybox.
Yeah. I guess the way that I feel, stats aside, is that Hungrybox has kind of looked not in his tip-top form. He doesn't look like 2017 Hungrybox. If I want to think about it a little bit, more broadly, right? Like, I could very easily see Leffen winning here in winners finals, even if you wanted, like, I guess the way that I feel is that if you wanted to make me bet, I would give even odds and maybe a very, very slight advantage to Leffen, but I think that's biased talking.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's fair. I think, like, for me to bet on Leffen, you need to give me 1.5 to 1 odds. against Hungry
Okay.
Box. I think that's like fair. Like I would take a 40% chance that Leffen wins.
Okay,
To be
yeah.
pretty reasonable. But like you said, it could be 50-50. It could be slight Leffen, even just with like what you said. I think also what's kind of worrying, and this is once again if our Mango's coach, is just you just look. I want to pull up the query of Mango versus like what we would call the top 6 today. Like we're gonna just pull that up over like the past like start of 2018. Like
Okay.
it's not looked pretty.
I love these stock images of people's faces on your.
Yeah, it's amazing, man. Or actually, we're gonna look back starting from last year, and we're just gonna look at like him versus like the top 6. It's not looked really good. 1-6 against Hungry Box, 1-4 against Armada, 0-1 against Mutaking, 2-2 against Plup, 1-4 against Leffen.
Yo, dude, he's got 6,000 subs. Come on, give him a break.
Yeah. I mean, I think like he plays the gatekeeper role pretty well. Where like other than like the flipsy set, like he in like playing Falcon, like he beats everybody like that's below Zane. Remarkably consistent, right?
Yeah.
It's just like kind of an issue of like, because I think when you fight a person that can punch back at you, like you kind of have to go like, do I have the mental fortitude to get back up? And I think that's like probably the big difference maker in terms of Mango like underperforming to what standards we're used to, is that when Mango gets punched in the face in these matches, he just kind of goes like, okay, yeah, like I'm done for this tournament, and he doesn't bounce back.
I have nothing to contribute here.
Yeah, unfortunately. So with this event,
like, I want to agree with you, but like it's an even number big house. It's Mango. Like,
yes. So convince the audience that I'm wrong. Make a case for your boy.
Okay, let's look at the points. It's even number big house, right? Step 1. Can you remind me the last even number big house he didn't win? That's right.
I can't think of one. No, I can't, Ben.
Yes, it's Mango, the GOAT. He's the greatest of all time. Everybody knows that. Third, he knows what's on the line here. It's not Big House Championship. You know, it's not the glory of winning a major. He's been there before. But do you know what's on the line this time, Tafo?
What's on the line, Ben?
Senpai 7K. You know that if he wins, he's going to have 7K subs on Monday. You know that is just a true statement, right? Or Tuesday, whenever he starts streaming again. This is his tournament to win. This feels very similar to me, at least, like Royal Flush did, right? Where it's like, it's been a while. This is the one event he's gotten frustrated with losing a bunch in a row. Like, the bracket has laid out in this position that's just like magical for him. I'm sick, and I'm really worried, because when Mango wins this tournament, I'm going to be jumping up and down, and like the fever that I've had for the last week is just going to take over. I'm probably just going to pass out. I'm really worried about myself, because I just know that he's going to win this tournament.
That's a pretty compelling case. And like, you know, I think, you know, he usually says like, I want to win one tournament a year. We haven't seen that yet. So
there's one other thing I neglected to mention. The last tournament Mango won was Royal Flush, right? You know who was not at Royal Flush? I was not at Royal Flush. I'm just saying.
So you're telling me that if you didn't come to any event and I banned you from that one summit, he would have won the tournament?
I'm just pointing at facts.
You're pointing at facts?
Letting the facts show for themselves.
The Ben SW facts.
Yeah, facts are facts, right?
Are they more valuable than Atrioc facts?
Yes, of course. I mean, Atrioc facts aren't.
They're like Blur Bucks.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I was worried, actually, as an aside, for Bobby when he was making all those bets with Blur yesterday, because Blur's never going to pay back a bet. Like, everybody understands that, right? Blur never honors his bets.
Wait, really?
Yeah. I think he's in debt to like the Twitch mailing.
Okay. I feel like there's a story. There's a funny story lying within this. What is the most ridiculous bet that he took that he absolutely doubled down in the Blur-like way that he was super confident in, that he ended up like just like flat out losing and like couldn't run
his like countless bets against Bobby in money matches, saying like Blur always continues to talk about the fact that he could beat Bobby every day of the week. And I think they've done like 4 or 5 money matches since Blur's joined Twitch, and Bobby's won every single one of them and each of them have been for like 20, 50, $100, like smallish amounts of money, and Blur's paid 0 of them.
Ooh, this is like almost SFAT Dewan level Grammy. Have you heard the SFAT Dewan like money matches?
No.
So back in 2009, when SFAT was like the up and coming player and Dewan was already established goods, SFAT would play Dewan every tournament, best of five, $20, and Zach would get destroyed like every time. It'd be like 3-0, 3-0, maybe a 3-1 there. Dewan would gladly take the $20. Keep in mind, like $20 in 2010 was a lot of money, especially for SFAT and Dewan, who were college kids, and SFAT was probably like late high school. So there's this one night at Brandon's place. Brandon, Phil, Zach, Dewan are there, and maybe like Alan or Daryl. Zach and Dewan play a $20 money match. Zach wins. I think it was close. It was 3-2. Dewan goes double or nothing. They play again. Zach wins again. Dewan's really mad and like really like God, like he got lucky, and I think there's some jank. Double or nothing. So now we're at like $40. It goes to 80. Zach's whooping his ass now, and Dewan's super tilted. Double or nothing. $160. Zach wins again. Double or nothing. This time at this point, you know how like no one had sponsors and the idea of a plane ticket's like really exciting. Dewan's saying, if I lose this money match, I will buy you a plane ticket to the next major for like $300. That's probably worth $300. Loses. Now we're like at like 5 or 6. Dewan is still mega salty. Double or nothing. If I lose this money match, I'm buying Brandon a plane ticket too to the next major. He loses. Does one more double or nothing. So now we're at like $1,280 or whatever. He has to buy, if he loses this, he has to buy Zach, Phil, Brandon, and Daryl all plane tickets to like a big house. He loses. And they all go to bed. It's super late because doing that many best of fives in a row, it's like probably 3 or 4 a.m. They all wake up. They're all wondering, did that just happen? Did that just happen? Dewan never mentions about the money and never pays Zach. And keep in mind, up until this point, Zach has paid Dewan the $20 at every tournament for losing money matches.
Yep, sounds... yeah.
Isn't that insane? Isn't that pretty crazy?
That's pretty wild. It is definitely believable, but...
So, going back from this tangent, this weird tangent.
I guess that is to say it's worse. That's worse than Blur.
That is worse than Blur. But yeah, Zach didn't see a single penny from that night.
Good shit, Dewan.
So assuming Bananas loses to $100, we get Bananas probably against Zane. The two likely scenarios meet up here. Zane beats Aston Page. Bananas loses to $100.
I think
we get Zane versus Bananas. What are you going for?
So obviously, I think Zane's going to win, but I guess my moment of hesitation is how, by how much? Like, what percentage chance does Bananas have of winning?
So I think to add kind of to this, to give you a little bit more information, Zane lost to Army at SmashCon, top 8.
Yeah. But in some ways, I think that Army's like a better ice climbers than Bananas is. Obviously, today has proven me really, really, really wrong. But like, I remember watching those matches, Army versus Zane, and they seemed competitive, like pretty competitive.
Like if you re-rolled that match, like Army takes a reasonable amount of them. Maybe he doesn't win more than half, but he takes a reasonable amount.
Yeah, he probably takes like maybe 30%.
Right. But
and I think that Bananas has like 5 or 10% maybe. But then again, I mean like if you had asked me for a percentage chance that Bananas was going to beat Plup, like I would have given you 0.0001%.
Right. Bananas does have quite the resume. Like I believe has beaten SCJ and none. Like he does have good wins, and I think the bigger question is like how would he do if he was able to travel more?
Yeah, this is what I was talking about before, where it's like, you know, he's got top level wins, but what does that upper echelon mean, right? And so like, you know, before today, I would have thrown Zane into almost at that upper echelon with with people like Plup and Leffen. But after today, maybe not so much. And if I remove that framing from my head, if I think that Zane's not actually part of this upper echelon, he's more like on the level of like that second tier of SFAT and S2J and Wizrobe, then like it's certainly possible for any of those players to get upset by an ICs.
Yeah. I think the kind of thing here, I mean, I think you bring up a good point. It's like we were kind of betting on how good do we think, what's our perception of Zane. But just to kind of give you the resume, this is before today, by the way. S2J, he beat S2J. He's 1-0 against him. He split sets against Chu. He's beaten Swedish Delight, who Swedish plays Peach, and Swedish has, to my knowledge, not really lost to an Ice Climbers as Peach in a long time.
Is this in the last year?
Yeah, 2018.
Okay.
He split sets with None. He's split sets with Mike. He's beating Gatsu. And today he's beating Hugs, Plup, and Fiction. Like, that's a pretty good resume.
But he did lose to the Moon.
He did lose to La Luna. So, I mean, I hate to say this about Ice Climbers. It could be more about how good Zane is playing. Like, I think you always need that minimum threshold. But hey, what do you know? Like, when like the Ice Climbers kind of read your full hops, or they read your rolls or your movement, there could be like a trend, like a setting trend where right from the get-go, Bananas does a hard read 3 times in a row, and now Zane is very confused on what he can and can't do.
Let me ask it in a different way, right? Like, do you think that the Rishi Zane match, do you think that was Rishi playing out of his skull, or Zane playing bad, or a little bit of both, or what?
That's tough to say, because Rishi and Zane like have a long history with each other, and I think like when you play each other over time, like it kind of converges the win rates like to like almost 50-50 over time. That's like my belief.
Okay.
For like a lot of cases, unless they completely diverge like Mango and Lucky. But I think like in this case, like Rishi is very familiar with how Zane plays, that it's closer to than like what you would think otherwise.
Okay. I was asking that question, right, because like you brought up the question of whether or not Zane is playing well or not, and I think that is a good lens for looking at it through.
Yeah. I mean, just like looking at the bracket today, I think like overall he's played to expectation. 3-1 KJH, 3-1 Hugs, 3-2 Rishi. Like, I'd probably guess 3-1 on a normal basis with him, like given that their history, and 3-1's SFED. So maybe he recovered after the Gatsu loss, or maybe he's just bad against Falcon. So I think he's probably playing more or less up to like, other than the Gatsu loss, I think he's playing more or less to like what he should be playing.
Yeah. The other point I guess I didn't bring up earlier when we were talking about absent Page versus Zane. I mean, just look at what Zane's gone through today. 3-0 Cal, 3-1 KJH, 3-1 SFAT. Like, yeah, there's no way absent Page is winning. Not this lifetime.
Yeah.
That being said, I still think it's about 10-15% chance that Bananas beats Zane.
It's just the fact that Zane's not a floaty and it's Ice Climbers that like you have to minimum set it at a 10%, I think.
Yeah.
On the other side of the bracket, this is going to be really tough. We're assuming Plup and then the loser of Mango Leffen. I think like regardless, I think that's like a really exciting part of the bracket. It's kind of funny how on one side we have the Ice Climbers player, the Puff player, and they're very likely going to play a Marth. I mean, not that they're like bad sets, but then on the other side you got Mango Leffen Plup.
Yeah, this side of the bracket's going to be probably the most interesting of top 8. I think that assuming Plup wins, the loser of Mango Leffen, I feel like is going to beat Plup today. Normally it would be a different story, but I don't know. It just seemed like Plup was kind of cracking against Lucky, against Swedish, against all of his opponents today. It just seems like if today is a day that Plup is going to lose, if there's going to be a day that Plup is going to lose, it's going to be today against Mango and Leffen.
Yeah. I mean, I think this is like a 4 out of 10 Plup day. Like, maybe like the Ice Climbers round 1 kind of set the tone for like where you're just kind of frustrated at yourself. Like, I think Plup has really high expectations on himself, and he gets like frustrated if he doesn't perform to a level that he thinks is what it should be. With that being said, like 5 hours does change a lot between or whatever the amount of time was between when Top 64 ended and now. Maybe Plup recoups. I do think that this is a very dangerous like double down set. I think Mango Leffen is gonna highlight what is gonna happen for a lot of this top eight, because I think that sets the tone. Like, because if you lose that set, Mango Leffen, like chances are like you lose a little bit of confidence and maybe you start second guessing yourself. And then if you immediately have to play Plup after, like I feel like the person that loses set is probably gonna double down and lose the set in losers.
Also, I don't know what Juggle Guy's plan is for the stream, but memory serves like that match is going to happen pretty shortly after the Mango Leffen match. So it's like if I don't think that Mango's going to lose, but if Mango loses, it's going to be like that 1-2 punch, right? It's like fast-paced match that you just lost into another like incredibly hard matchup. You saw this with Mango at Evo, and you saw this one other tournament recently.
Yeah,
right,
there's been a couple of those.
Yeah, but you know Mango's not going to lose. So
okay, yeah, of course. So I think like that's like the double down set, and like I think like it's gonna be a large indicator of how well they're playing as Spaceys. Like if you're good enough to beat the other Spacey in the Mango Leffen split, like your chances are you're gonna do well in this tournament. But if you lose, like usually there's something shaky and it kind of snowballs. With that being said, so I'm probably gonna go Plup in this like kind of losers route to loser semis for top 4. I'm not sure what your take is. I think
I'm putting Plup out at 5th place.
You're putting Plup out at 5th place. I think that's like, it's not unreasonable. I think that's like perfectly fine. I think this is like the most coin flippy part of the. I mean, other than like Mango Leffen and winners, like I think like this is also going to be very coin flippy.
Yeah, this is like this match is going to be I think the closest match of top 8.
So
aside from Leffen Mango.
How about Zane Leffen? We get that rematch.
Ooh, that's going to be really, really good. I know. Just a second ago, I was saying that Zane's kind of been through the gauntlet of all these foxes, but Leffen's just on a completely different level, and my heart's telling me Leffen, but what I've seen today is kind of telling me Zane's going to slice him up.
Last time they played was Full Bloom in March earlier this year. Leffen did 3-0. Zane. I think this is kind of the issue. So, like, you know how, like, it's like, how much time do you really get to prepare for that matchup? And when you get into losers, you play the gauntlet. And there is no, I can study you for 2 hours and play specifically against that character for, like, the entire night. Would you agree? I think there's a huge difference between the amount of prep you get between when you end top 64 and go like, okay, this is my opponent. I'm going to find that another person that plays that character and play that for 4 hours as opposed to having 15 minutes. So I think with that, like if this ever comes out, like I don't think Leffen's going to be practicing against Marth for an extended period of time. I think if he beats Plup, like he gets like a 1 set window where he plays, I don't know, like whatever Marth is at the venue and that's it.
Yep. I definitely agree with you there that he won't be anywhere near as warmed up as he's going to be against Mango, or even as he was this morning against Trudat and Duck. Like he was practicing all the. I don't know if you following him. He was practicing all this morning against Ices and Samus, and so it's pretty reasonable that he swept those matches. But I definitely agree with you that like he hasn't played a Marth in a while. He's not going to have a lot of time.
If you're Rishi, do you pull the betrayal and go like, hey, I'm getting top 10 practice or like top 5 level practice. I want to play against Leffen and make my major experience. Or do I go like, Zane's my homie, I'm not going to do that?
So I was going to say I don't know Rishi very well. And that's kind of the truth. But I guess the only telling thing for me about Rishi and his loyalty is the following. When Bobby was trying to practice for the Scar Fendi match, Rishi came over and started playing him, and Bobby was like legitimately going even with him. And then Bobby asked him like, "So do you think I'll beat Fendi?" And Rishi kind of like leans back in his chair and says, "Nah, I think Fendi's got this." And I just like kind of turn over and I look at him. I'm like, "Are you kidding me? Like Bobby's beaten you like 4 out of the last 8 times. Like, you really think that Fendi's got this?" And he's like, "Yeah. Fendi's got this." So the one thing I know, the one example I have in my mind of Rishi's loyalty is that he's loyal.
But I mean, you say he talks a loyal game, yet he gave Scar practice.
That's true. You do have a point there. You have a very, very good point there. There's a big difference between giving practice to Fendi and giving practice to Leffen. Or sorry, giving practice for Leffen's match versus Scar's match, right? Like that's a pretty big difference, especially in top 8. I mean, like Scar versus Fendi, there wasn't really anything on it. This is going to be like
there's pride on the line, man. You know that Scar wanted to win that.
Oh, I mean, I know that Bobby wanted to win that, and Bobby messed him up.
That's true.
That's true.
So we're saying that Leffen's going to get practice here, and that he's going to, just like how Scar messed up Fendrick Lamar, that Leffen is going to mess up Zayn.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I don't know, but yeah.
Okay, so we're going to say that Leffen makes it out. What if this, I mean, there's other permutations that could happen here, like we were kind of robbed of Mango Zayn.
Yeah, that's true. I'm really happy about that. I wouldn't say I was robbed. We were gifted the lack of Mango Zayn.
But I think, like, unless, like, Mango just decides not to play against Hungrybox and, like, kind of do the Mango thing where he just throws every game over and over again. To Hungrybox's credit, like, he does find those spots, so, like, and there's an art to that, and that's not something any Puff can do. On the flip side of things, I feel like every permutation we could possibly have of Mango, Leffen, Zayn, Plup, and Hungrybox, like, all have, like, a nice twist to them. Except for maybe, like, Plup Hungrybox, I think that's the only exception. But, like, every other match that you can, like, pair up, there's something interesting with it. Like, Hungrybox Zayn, like, I do want to see a rematch of that. I do want to see a rematch of Zayn Leffen. I do want to see Mango Leffen. I think all these matches that could happen are going to be amazing.
Yeah, no, I mean, this is one of the most exciting things about this tournament, and one of the most exciting things about Big House in general, right, is that you get to see these matchups that these are going to be the defining sets of this year, and this is what's going to be in everybody's mind when they're making their rankings at the end of the year. And you know, on Thursday when I was trying to figure out if I was well enough to go, I thought, like, I have a fever. I'm, like, coughing up a bunch of crap. Like, I really feel awful. Like, the one solace that I can take away is the fact that I can just, like, sit in my pajamas and I get to watch Big House all weekend. Like, these are the going to be the best matches of Melee, you know, for the year. Some of the best matches of Melee for the year.
Yeah, and overall, like, I think, you know, you let the players play, and the spirit of competition I'm always going to love, but I think in terms of what's happened so far, like, it's been a really good tournament.
Yeah, no, this has been wonderful to watch.
So, I kind of hope, like, there have been other events where, like, the top 64 has looked really promising, leads a pretty compelling top 8, and then the top 8 just, like, kind of flops completely. I think the potential of that happening is very small.
Yeah, I think that this top 8 is going to be great.
Awesome. So I have to kind of go meet and hang out with my in-laws in just a bit. So
let's. Grand finals just ended, I think, of Smash 4 as well.
So while they do the interviews and setup, I think it starts at 4:00 in just like 15 minutes. I want you to run down, looking at the bracket, what is your final top 8 going to be? And if there's a tiebreaker for this, I know we went over this, but just to give that recap to the audience, what is your top 8 results going to look like in standings?
Let's see. Okay, so first is obviously Mango. That's like a given.
Okay. Who plays him in grand finals?
I think Leffen plays him in grand final.
Okay,
that's possible, right? Yeah, and then Leffen beats Hungrybox for third. And fourth place is Zayn. Fifth place is Plup. Fifth place is, I guess that means it's
Bananas.
Bananas, yeah. And then Absent Page and Axe get 7th, and they have to play playoff. And I think this is like pretty close in my mind. I think Axe is going to win, but would not shock me if Absent Page wins.
Okay. I think that's pretty reasonable. And you know what's kind of funny? Like, I feel like every big house has like a Midwest power boost. Like, we had like Kells that random year that like got top 8. Like, Absent Page is the one that got the Midwest blessing this time. I think those are pretty like consistent for the most part. I think Aston Page and Axe are going to finish in 7th. I think Axe wins the tiebreaker. Moving forward, I think Bananas and Leffen get 5th.
Okay.
So that leaves Plup and Zane. I think Plup is going to beat Zane this time. And then top, that leaves Plup, Hungrybox, and Mango. I think Hungrybox beats Mango and winners. Plup and Mango play an epic set. I think Plup wins it, and then we get Plup H-Box Grand Finals, and I think H-Box wins.
Yeah, I don't want to live in that world, so I'm going to stick with my reality.
Yeah. So, I'm playing the head pick, and you're playing the heart pick, and we're going to see, Ben, in 15 minutes, everything unfold. Does Tafo's head, the Tafo facts, beat the heart, the rambunctiousness of Ben SW? Find out in 13 minutes. Alrighty. It was fun talking to you, man.
Yeah, it was good. Thanks for having me on.
Awesome. All right, I'm going to boot you off, and we're going to go watch Melee in just a little bit. Okay. So that was Ben SW, folks. We're going to go ahead